My intuition is telling me there'll be better days.
Okay, so today's tutorial is going to be a very easy one to recreate, and it looks a lot more intricate and detailed, and it looks like it took a lot more effort than it really does. And believe it or not, I actually came up with this myself. So I'll explain how I came about finding this design when I get to that part. But so we're going to be making these little designs, or these soaps here with this design. You can use any certain colors you want. This was one of my Christmas ones. So they're super pretty, super, you know, like feminine. You got the flower detail, and like I said, really easy to make. So we're gonna take, was actually my very first mold. So this is the one we're gonna take. I got it on Amazon. I think 3 of them came in a pack. And then I have some of my melt and pour goat milk in here, which I'm gonna go heat up, and then we'll get started. I'm gonna be using this coconut mango fragrance oil from BRAMBLEBERRY. So I need to think of what colors I would like to use, but I will be back. Okay, you don't need much for this first step, but I decided that I want to do a neon pink. So this is, I think it's like Poppin' Pink from Stardust MICAs. I really love the colors they have, but the only thing I don't like is sometimes they don't fully dissolve into the soap. And they can leave little specks, but I'm going to do my best to stir it as well as I can. And of course I forgot to grab a pipette. So I'm just going to pour a little bit in, and then I'll get a pipette for the rest of the project. Let's see if that'll be enough. Yeah, that's pretty good actually, because this isn't much soap. So what we're going to do is we're going to be using this middle flower mold right here. And we're not going to fill it up all the way. So maybe like halfway I fill it up. Depending on if I have more soap left, I'll fill it up more, which I do. I mean, it's really up to you. And we're going to spray that with our 99% alcohol, and we're going to let it sit and harden. And then we will be able to move on to the second step. So these 2 flowers here will end up being able to make 4 soaps out of. Okay, so I'll be back once this is dry. Okay, so they are now dried, and as you can see, this does have some like speckles in it. Like I was saying, you know, sometimes that can happen, but it's not that noticeable in the front, so I'm not really worried about it. So the way I came about this design was I was using these molds, and I didn't like the color that came out. So I was cutting it up into 4s to try and, you know, like repurpose it and add, you know, maybe a darker color of whatever I was using. And so I started cutting it in 4s. And when I did that, I was like, oh, that's really pretty. Not only is it really pretty, but it fits perfectly into the corner of my square molds. So each one of these gives you the corner detailing for 2 soaps. So this will be 4. I also decided to use this mold too because I think it's really pretty when you cut this one into 4s as well. It kind of reminds me of like a heart. So we'll see how that looks. But this is definitely my favorite design to use when I'm doing. So since I'm going to be using the, oh no, see that some of the goat milk must not have melted completely. You can see that a little bit of white in the middle. I'm going to cut it and see if it's that noticeable. I'm not really that concerned about it, so and if I don't like the way it comes out, I can always just use it myself. I use all the reject soaps or give them away. Okay, so what was I saying? Since I'm going to be using the coconut mango fragrance oil, I don't know, I just automatically think of like orange, I guess because of the mango part. So I thought pink and orange would be cute. So I'm going to be using this orange. Do I want to use that one or this neon one? I might use the neon one since I used the neon pink. So I'm going to be using goat milk and shea butter soap. Now you can also use clear soap base, so you kind of have the contrasting of the goat milk, which kind of creates more pastel colors, and then the really vibrant colors using the clear soap, or you can use more of a white base soap, which is what I'm going to do. Goat milk and shea butter are my 2 favorite soaps to use. Alright, so I'm going to go heat this up and I will be back. Okay, so I got my soap heated up for the most part. Okay, so I'm going to be using, I forget the name of it, maybe Orange Mamba from Stardust MICAs, but I think I want it to be more of a pastel orange, so I'm not going to use a lot. Alright, so now I'm going to add the coconut mango fragrance oil. This is a 3 ml pipette, so that's like 2 mLs, like another 2. I like my soaps like really fragrant, so it's up to you if you want to use more or less. Let me see what the temperature is because, okay, it's saying it's 147 degrees. If we pour it in while it's too hot, it can melt our little flower details, and we don't want that. We want it around 130. All right, 138 is good, hopefully. I'm impatient. All right, so then spray alcohol. Now when you're doing this design, you can either use like all one color to fill it up, or like when I did this one, I used a clear soap base for the main part, and then I put, it's like a light pink on the back. Just, it really helps the color that you used with the clear base stand out. But since I'm not using any clear soap, I'm just going to use all one color to fill it up. So we'll wait for that to dry, and then I will show you the completed look. The completed product, not look. I'm not doing a fashion haul. Okay, so we're going to unmold them, and then the next step is actually the hardest out of all of them. So first, let's see what it looks like. Ooh, but we are not done yet because we need to get rid of some of the soap that is in the flower design. So what I'll do is I'll take like my bamboo skewer, and I'll start with the sharp end, and I lift it up here, but then I go in with the blunt end and get that out. Now, it is easier to use the sharp end the whole time, but I have accidentally put like marks through the design, and I just found this to be the cleanest way without damaging that little flower detail. And then once I do this, I run it under warm water just for like a second, and then let it dry. Sometimes I don't even start with the pointed end. I just go in with the blunt end. But if I'm having trouble like lifting it up or starting it, then I use the pointed end first, or just in general. And when you run it under some water, like all these little loose extra pieces will come off. Okay, so I'm just going to finish this one, and then I'm just going to run it under water, and I dry off the edges with a paper towel. And then once I wrap them, well, before I wrap them, I'll just show you guys what they look like. And then after they're wrapped, they smell amazing. So here is what it looks like completed. I like this one better. And I just came up with this design while I was filming this video. You know how I filled up some of that other flower mold? Then I just put it in the square mold. It kind of made it round out on the sides a little bit, but I think that looks pretty cool. And then I just filled it up with some goat milk and shea butter. I think that came out really pretty though. And I mean, we can't forget. I mean, really, it's more than appropriate. Alright, so now I'm going to use my little heat presser here, heat impulse sealer, and I'm going to shrink wrap them.